You were taught to be polite, to say please, to smile when your teeth hurt, to apologize first. Good manners are a soft currency in a world that trades in knives. You learn to swallow your pride because someone told you it was noble. Bullshit. The moment you put your dignity on a string and offered it to anyone who asked, you made it negotiable. You turned respect into a suggestion. That ends now. Respect is not a trophy someone hands you for being nice. It's not earned by being small, quiet, or pleasantly convenient. Respect is a border you enforce with your posture, your time, and your calendar. It's cold, exact, and non-negotiable. When someone treats you like an option, they are not confused. They are choosing you to be less. Stop asking for their permission to be whole. First, learn to see the economy of attention for what it is. People spend attention like currency. They invest it in appetites, not in you. When they give you crumbs, they are not being generous. They are measuring you. Someone shows up late, flakes, or speaks over you. That's a price. They are telling you where you stand in their ledger. Most people won't tell you directly. They'll drop hints like deadlines missed and promises that evaporate. Read the receipts. Respect doesn't arrive from excuses. Second, stop explaining yourself. You don't owe anyone a timeline for your growth, your anger, or your exit. Every sentence you spend rationalizing your pain is a donation to the people who hurt you. They don't want your reasons, they want your reaction. Give them nothing. Silence is not passive. Silence is a recalibration of value. It says, I will not argue for my worth. I will demonstrate it in what I do next. This is not about showing off. It's surgical. Respect is taken through discipline, boundaries, and unannounced absence. People respect what they fear to lose. Make yourself a possibility they can't pawn off. Make your time scarce. Make your availability conditional. When your day is packed with non-negotiables, when your patience runs like a measured drip, people stop mistaking you for an endless resource. Scarcity is dignity in motion. You'll be tempted to prove them wrong. You'll want to pour yourself into a person to show how valuable you are. Don't. That's the hunger they asked for. That's participation in your own erosion. Reclaim the energy you gave away and invested in structures that outlive moods, muscle, skill, money, a schedule that isn't rearranged for someone else's drama. Those things are louder than a pity-fueled speech. They're louder than any explanation. They are the blueprint of respect. Also, stop tolerating lazy apologies. I'm sorry is cheap when it arrives without consequence. If someone hurts you and continues to have uncorrected access, the apology is a sweater dropped at your door, warm for a night, gone by morning. An apology without repair is an admission of intent to repeat. Demand repair or demand distance. Either way, make correction visible. If they can walk through the correction, they can walk back into your life with terms. If they can't, they must sit outside the gates and watch what they tried to burn grow back stronger. Learn the currency of no. That monosyllable rebuilds half the ruins people handed you. Say it like a line you mean. Say it like a deed. It's not cruelty to refuse people who spent your trust on the lottery of their convenience. Saying no sharpens the blade of your life. It cuts through obligations that belong to other people. It creates room for obligations that belong to you. Respect follows the person who knows how to turn down what kills them slowly. There's a caliber to silence that embarrasses the loudest mouths. When someone expects drama and gets a folded absence instead, they panic. They were betting on you being easy to skewer, and you're not. Let them have their venom. Don't entertain it. They will escalate because egos don't like being denied a reaction. Let them escalate. Let them chatter and empty themselves. Respect is the echo of your stillness after the noise leaves. Work, real work, is a disrespect filter. The grind is not showy, it is honest. It reduces charlatans to spectators. When your day is filled with construction of body, bank account, skill, people who live by convenience will start to look cheap. They'll either adapt or fade. Do not waste energy on the fade out. Continue building. The bricks you lay are not apologies, they are proof. Proof rewires how people see you. Proof is louder than theatrics. Finally, make absence a weapon of clarity, not of spite. Leave not because you want them to feel pain, but because you refuse to be their practice round. Disappear the way a pandemic disappears a city with undeniable consequence. This is not childish retribution. It is adult aversion. It is the declaration that you will not be present for your own damage. You will be called cold. You will be accused of being unforgiving. Let them. They labeled forgiveness as virtue because it suited them. You are not committed to their comfort. You are committed to your perimeter. Being unforgiving is sometimes the only honest policy when someone has gambled with your life like a slot machine. Respect is never asked for. It is not a handshake you offer for validation. It is taken by the patient, the ruthless, the disciplined. It is held by those who can walk away and mean it. You will taste the bitterness of this learning. Good, taste it. Let the bitterness be the iron that tempers you. Let it burn off what made you pliable. Take your dignity back like you mean it. Close the doors that let in vultures. Open the doors that lead to your silence and your work. Build something that refuses to be whispered about and forces a recalculation. When they come around, smiling like they never stabbed you, don't flinch. You're not their mirror anymore. Respect is not a favor you ask for. It's a territory you reclaim, and I'll take back every inch with or without your blessing. You think disrespect is an insult. You think it's humiliation. You think it's proof that you're not enough. That's the lie they feed you. That's the trap. The truth. Disrespect is clarity. It's a flashlight in the dark, showing you exactly who doesn't deserve a single second more of your life. It's not a curse. It's a gift. Because without it, you'd keep feeding snakes. People hide their intentions with smiles, with fake brow hugs, with sweet texts at midnight. But they can't hide how they treat you when they think you're not useful. That's where disrespect shows up. They show it in the lateness they never apologize for. They show it in the jokes that cut a little too deep. They show it when they choose everyone else over you and expect you to wait, silent and grateful. Don't overthink it. Don't excuse it. Disrespect is a confession. Every time someone disrespects you, they hand you a decision. Most people ignore it because it's painful to admit the truth. That person doesn't value you. They want to keep the illusion alive. They convince themselves they didn't mean it. They were just stressed. It was just a mistake. Wrong. Disrespect is not random. It's not an accident. It's a choice. And if you don't cut them out, you're choosing to. You don't confront disrespect with speeches. You don't argue. You don't demand recognition. You don't say, "Look at me, I deserve better." That's begging. That's weakness. And weakness is blood in the water. Instead, you confront disrespect with silence, with subtraction, with cold execution. You remove them from your world like a surgeon cuts out rot. No announcement, no second chances. Just gone. Because let's be real, they knew what they were doing. People know when they cross the line. They know when they play with your time, your name, your trust. And they bet on you being too weak to act. That's the test. The only question is whether you fail it or not. If you stay, they win. If you cut them, you win. It's that simple. Look at your past. How many people have shown you who they really are and you ignored it? How many fake friends laughed behind your back and you called it teasing? How many lovers disrespected your boundaries and you forgave because you were scared of being alone? How many times did you swallow the disrespect because you didn't want to lose them? But think you didn't lose them. They lost you. They lost the privilege of standing next to you. That's the shift. Disrespect burns at first. It feels like rejection. But after the fire, what's left is clarity, and clarity is freedom. You don't need to second guess anymore. You don't need to overanalyze every word. They told you the truth about themselves. Believe it. That's the power move. Believe it the first time. Stop writing fan fiction in your head where they didn't mean it. They meant it. Stop protecting their image. Protect yourself. Cutting someone out isn't cruelty. It's survival. Cruelty is keeping people around who rot your spine. Cruelty is letting their disrespect echo in your head and call it love. No, respect is non-negotiable. Once it's gone, the contract is broken. And you don't rewrite it. You shred it. Here's the cold truth. You don't need closure. You don't need a dramatic conversation. You don't need to explain yourself. Closure is just another way of asking for their approval one last time. Do you understand why I'm leaving? Who cares if they understand? Who cares if they agree? You're not leaving for them. You're leaving for you. Silence is closure. Walking away is closure. Living better is closure. Understand this. Disrespect isn't about them testing your worth. It's about you proving your standards. If you let them stay, you just proved you don't have any. If you cut them, you proved you're untouchable. That's the split. That's the line. You're not here to tolerate disrespect. You're here to outgrow it, to make it so clear that when someone disrespects you, they don't get the luxury of explanation. They don't get the luxury of redemption. They get distance. They get blocked. They get erased. They get the quiet reality that their seat has been taken away permanently, and they will never sit at your table again. Stop romanticizing loyalty to people who spit on your name. Loyalty doesn't mean dying in someone else's mess. Loyalty doesn't mean excusing their patterns. Loyalty means protecting your blood, your spirit, your peace. Be loyal to yourself first. Everyone else comes after. And let's be clear, disrespect isn't always screaming or insults. Sometimes it's subtle. Sometimes it's that friend who only calls when they need something. Sometimes it's that partner who suddenly forgets the promises they made when it's inconvenient. Sometimes it's the family member who laughs at your dreams and calls it love. Disrespect wears many masks, but it always feels the same: heavy, sharp, cold. Don't ignore that feeling. That's your alarm system. Trust it. You don't need to fight everyone. You don't need to throw fists or words. The deadliest weapon you have is indifference. When they no longer get your time, your emotion, your reaction, they starve. You think they'll forget you. No, they'll remember you as the one who didn't need them. And that memory will eat at them louder than any revenge. Disrespect is not a wound. It's a warning. And once you start seeing it that way, you stop being the victim. You stop chasing answers. You stop begging for validation. You start cutting faster, cleaner, colder. Because life's too short to keep feeding leeches. Disrespect isn't the end of you. It's the end of them. And I'll cut without mercy until my circle is sharper than any blade they tried to stab me with. Silence is not surrender. Silence is the most accurate weapon I own. I used to think noise was power, loud apologies, dramatic exits, viral rants, the heavy clanging of proof. I learned the hard way noise feeds them. Noise gives the offender oxygen. Noise hands them the stage to explain, to manipulate, to rewrite the story in their favor. Silence is the opposite. Silence is a surgical shutdown. It starves their theater and leaves them with nothing but their own echo. When someone betrays you, the first reflex is to retaliate. To scream until your throat bleeds, to smear their name with every ounce of justified rage you can find. That feels good for a minute, like throwing a Molotov into the place that burned you. But anger shown is attention given. Their guilt gets softened into drama. Their guilt becomes a performance. You think you're tearing them down, mostly. You're creating content for them to spin. So I stopped talking, I stopped explaining, I stopped seeking validation, closure, any last crumb of apology. I let the silence sit heavy and uncomfortable, in their life, not mine. I walked out of rooms without explanation. I closed accounts. I removed access. I didn't announce the deletion. I didn't beg for answers, I just vanished, and the space I left did something simple: it exposed them. Silence is a mirror. It shows who notices and who doesn't. It shows who panics and who pretends not to care. It shows who tries to fix themselves and who walks on. Silence is patience weaponized. They will talk. They will rant to other people. They will craft messages, half apologies, stories that make them saints and you the problem. Let them. They are proving themselves in real time. They are doing your work for you. You don't need to be the referee in their narrative. You are not required to provide context for their lack of integrity. That's their job to explain, and they won't because they don't want to. Know that silence is not passive waiting, it is active recalibration. While they're busy with drama, you rebuild. While they rehearse lies, you train. While they count their followers, you count your value. The absence of your voice should be filled with things they can't take away: muscle, money, work, results. These are the quiet trophies that hum in rooms they no longer occupy. They are louder than any trending video or public meltdown. People mistake silence for weakness because they are deaf to the hum of preparation. They confuse your lack of reaction with being broken. Good. Let them think that. Let them mistake discipline for defeat. Watch them rush in to harvest pity. and watch them stumble when there's nothing to harvest. Their confusion will be their own punishment. They will find themselves speaking into a void and realizing the void is permanent. Silence also reclaims power over narrative. If you scream, you hand reporters, mutual friends, social feeds the editorial control. They will frame everything. They will pick the timestamp that hurts you most. If you are absent from the argument, you deny them the framing. Your absence becomes the default message you moved on. That kills defenses faster than any rebuttal. People hate to be irrelevant. Silence makes people irrelevant to you. That's a quiet annihilation. There's a cruelty to this tactic, a necessary cruelty. You will watch them scramble. You will enjoy the way their voice loses confidence when it has no audience. Good, enjoy that. You were never obligated to cushion their fall. They made their choices. You are only choosing your response. The answer is not vengeance delivered at public expense. The answer is indifference that cuts deeper than any slur. Silence is also the most honest punishment for those who make noise about you. Let them shout, let them posture. When the crowd disperses, the dust settles, and you are still doing the work, the noise is revealed as empty theater. People remember results over rants. They forget arguments, so the quiet life wins every time. You don't have to be cruel, you have to be consistent. That steadiness is a slow, grinding retribution that restructures lives around you. But silence needs rules. It is not becoming a ghost who avoids responsibility. It is strategic removal. You decide your boundaries and enforce them without speeches. If someone crosses a line, you remove their access immediately, not for drama but for maintenance. No calls. No, we should talk. No, I forgive you if you explain. You keep the door closed like it's a bank vault and you alone hold the code. If they want in, they must rebuild trust through actions that match their words, not through words alone. And most of them won't. That's fine. Let them fail. Emotional silence is different from emotional numbness. Silence is a method. Numbness is surrender to pain. Don't confuse the two. Feel the rage. Let it be the fuel for your discipline, not the soundtrack for their pity parade. Use the pain to build systems that protect you. Use the pain to refine who gets your time. Use it to teach you to move like a predator, patient, observant, and precise. When you choose silence, pay attention to what fills the gaps. If it's self-improvement, you're winning. If it's bitterness replaying like a broken record, you're wasting it. Replace the replay with labor. Replace the hate with a ledger of progress. Replace the need for shouting with the need to be unassailable. That's a different kind of loud, a life so complete that their noise becomes background static. Finally, silence is a final mercy to yourself. Closure is a trap that asks for their cooperation. Why beg for what you can build without them? Let them keep their story. You have better things: growth, wealth, skill, health. Let your life be the answer no apology could ever be. Let your silence be a landscape where they are allowed to die quietly while you live loudly, not in noise, but in consequence. End with action, remove, rebuild, repeat. Silence doesn't mean nothing happens. It means everything changes, and they're on the outside watching the consequences of their choices play out without a single witness to their excuses. I don't shout to punish. I disappear to demonstrate, and the silence I leave behind is the only revenge they'll never be able to speak over. You think breaking me destroys me. You think betrayal is the final blow. You think the scar is shame. Wrong. The scar is proof that I survived the wound. The scar is my certification of pain endured. Break me once, and all you've done is teach me a language I'll never forget. You've handed me a weapon, not a weakness. I used to fear pain. I used to avoid it. I thought pain meant I was failing. Now I understand pain is the most honest teacher I'll ever meet. Pain doesn't lie. It doesn't flatter. It doesn't sugarcoat. It cuts. It brands. It engraves the truth into your skin. And once you've been cut, you can't go back to being soft. The scar hardens you, makes you sharper, makes you immune to the same blade twice. The world worships comfort. Comfort dulls your edges, makes you fragile, keeps you weak. But scars are different. Scars are armor. Scars are a reminder that you bled and didn't die. Scars strip the illusions of safety away and remind you who you really are when everything collapses. The scar is proof that I will never be blindsided the same way again. Break me once. I'll watch carefully. I'll replay the betrayal until it's burned into memory. I'll trace the scar with my finger every morning, not as grief but as data. Every insult, every betrayal, every abandonment becomes an entry in my system of survival. Pain turned into process. Process turned into strength. You may have caught me soft once, but I won't be soft again. You thought betrayal humiliated me. You thought rejection buried me. You thought disrespect would silence me. But nothing kills like the attempt. You failed. I'm still standing. And standing after destruction is louder than any apology you could ever fake. That's the irony. By breaking me, you gave me the weapon to ensure you could never do it again. Here's the truth: nobody escapes pain. Everyone bleeds. But most people let their wounds fester. They replay them as victim stories. They point at the scar and beg for pity. I don't. I wear scars as warnings, like notches on a soldier's belt. They don't weaken me. They tell my enemies I've already been tested and I came back harder. The scar is not a weakness. The scar is my RA Summe. Stop running from scars. Stop hiding them under makeup, under excuses, under fake smiles. Show them. Let the world see that you've been through wars and still walk. The scar is intimidating because it whispers, I survived. And survival is the most dangerous skill in a world full of quitters. You don't need to be flawless, you need to be unkillable. Break me once, I'll thank you. Because I needed the scar. I needed the reminder that pain is not the end, it's the forge. I needed the proof that betrayal doesn't define me. My response does. I needed the training that only comes from being pushed to the ground and forced to rise with teeth bloody and fists clenched. Understand this: revenge is not always about retaliation. Sometimes revenge is the scar itself. It's walking past the person who tried to ruin you, smiling coldly, showing them the mark they left, not as a wound, but as proof of your endurance. They will see it and they will know they failed. You lived, you adapted, you got stronger. And nothing will humiliate them more than watching their attempt at destruction become your greatest reinforcement. Scars are also memory locks. They hold the truth of who was there for you, who abandoned you, who mocked you. Never erase those names. Never rewrite history to protect their image. Keep the scar visible, because it is the best reminder of who deserves access to your life. Forgetting makes you vulnerable. Remembering keeps you lethal. The next time someone tries to break you, they'll be fighting against not just you, but every scar behind you. They'll be fighting against every lesson you refuse to forget. That's why scars are not weaknesses. They're reinforcements. You carry an army of them, and each one tells the world I cannot be killed by the same mistake twice. You don't fear scars, you collect them, you sharpen them, you turn them into armor and wear them like medals. They don't make you ugly, they make you undeniable. Only the fragile hide their scars. Only the insecure pretend they've never bled. The powerful wear them like warnings. Try me once, never twice, so break me once. Thank you for the scar. Thank you for the data. Thank you for the hardening. You've removed the illusion that life is safe, that people are loyal, that love is unconditional. You've taught me the rules of war. And in war, scars are survival. The scar doesn't make me bitter. It makes me dangerous. It makes me disciplined. It makes me impossible to manipulate the same way again. I may look the same, but I am not. The wound was the tuition. The scar is the degree. And the cost was worth it. Break me once, and you've given me the scar that will remind me every day why you'll never touch me again. Scars don't make me weaker. They make me untouchable. Open hate is easy. You see it coming. It spits in your face, it throws punches, it names itself. You know exactly where it stands and you can prepare. But fake love, that's the dagger you don't see until it's already inside you. That's the smile that hides the rot. That's the hand on your back guiding you straight into a pit. Fake love is poison served in a golden cup, and it kills slower, deeper, quieter than open hate ever could. I'd rather have enemies who hate me honestly than friends who betray me secretly. At least with enemies, you know the war you're in. With fake love, you bleed before you even know you're cut. They clap when you succeed, but the sound is hollow. They hug you while calculating your weakness. They say, I've got you, while rehearsing their excuse for when they abandon you. And because they wear the mask of loyalty, you don't see it until it's too late. Fake love is worse because it confuses you. Hate makes you strong, it forces you to build armor. Fake love disarms you. It makes you drop the shield. It makes you vulnerable, hopeful, trusting. Then it strikes. And that's why the damage is deeper. Not just betrayal of trust, betrayal of self. Because you look in the mirror afterward and wonder how you missed it. You blame yourself for giving them access. That's the genius of fake love. It makes you doubt your own judgment. Don't carry shame for believing people who wore masks well. Don't crucify yourself for being human in a world full of actors. Learn, recalibrate, harden. Fake love is not proof of your weakness. It's proof of their corruption. But now you know the warmest smiles hide the sharpest knives. The ones closest to you are the ones who can cut deepest. That's the risk of proximity. That's why your circle must shrink. Understand this: fake love doesn't always look dramatic. It's not always a partner cheating, a friend betraying, a family member abandoning. Sometimes it's subtle. It's the backhanded compliment that feels like sandpaper. It's the "I'm so proud of you" that sounds more like envy than love. It's the silence when you win, followed by their sudden interest when you struggle. Fake love thrives in these small fractures. Pay attention. You need to stop excusing it. Stop telling yourself that's just how they are. No, that's who they are. Stop normalizing disrespect wrapped in affection. Stop calling it love when it's manipulation. Real love uplifts. Real love respects. Real love is loud when you're low and silent when you need space. Anything else is theater, and you don't have time for actors. Here's the truth: fake love stays close not because they care, but because they need access. They want a front row seat to your wins so they can minimize them. They want a backdoor into your life so they can exploit it. They want the title of friend or partner or family so they can disguise the sabotage as care. That's why you must be ruthless. Cut fake love out with no ceremony. Don't explain, don't debate, don't second guess. Just close the gate. You owe loyalty to loyalty. You owe love to love. You owe nothing to betrayal dressed as affection. Stop feeding snakes. Stop inviting poison to dinner. You can love someone and still leave them. You can forgive someone and still cut them off. Forgiveness does not mean access. That's where most people lose. They confuse compassion with permission. Don't. Compassion doesn't mean handing the knife back to the person who stabbed you. The deadliest thing you can do to fake love is expose it with your absence. When you stop responding, when you stop feeding the illusion, when you starve them of access, the mask falls. They'll show you who they are when they can't use you anymore. And it will confirm everything you already suspected. Good.
Let it.
That's your proof. That's your closure. Fake love is worse than open hate because it doesn't just attack you. It contaminates your belief in people. It tries to convince you that everyone is false, that every smile is a mask. That's the final trick. If they can make you bitter, if they can make you closed off, then they've won twice. Don't let them. Stay sharp, but stay human. Trust carefully, but trust anyway. Just enforce boundaries like your life depends on it. And remember this: you don't need many. You don't need 100 friends. You don't need a crowd cheering. You need 2 or 3 real ones, and the rest can rot. Quality over quantity, loyalty over labels. If that means walking alone most of the time, walk alone. Wolves travel better alone than sheep do in herds. Fake love wants you soft. Fake love wants you blind. Fake love wants you afraid of solitude, so you'll tolerate poison just to avoid loneliness. Don't. Loneliness heals faster than betrayal. Solitude builds faster than sabotage. Being alone is not hell. Being surrounded by fake love is. So cut them. Cut all of them. And don't look back. Don't check if they're watching. Don't wonder if they miss you. Don't wait for their apology. Move forward so far they can't even see your shadow. That's how you kill fake love. Not with confrontation, not with shouting, with absence. I'd rather face 100 enemies who hate me openly than sit at one table of snakes pretending to love me, because fake love kills slower, and I don't let poison live near me twice. They laughed at you when you begged. They smirked when you explained yourself. They got high off your tears, your breakdowns, your desperate calls in the middle of the night. Don't get it twisted. Your weakness wasn't invisible to them. It was entertainment. It was free theater. Every time you cracked, they leaned back and enjoyed the show. You thought you were opening your heart. They thought you were giving them content. That's how twisted it gets. The same people you trusted with your pain used it for amusement. They didn't help you. They didn't protect you. They didn't lift you up. They just watched. Maybe they consoled you with empty words. Maybe they said, "Stay strong," with a fake pat on the back, but inside they were feeding off the fact that you were small, that you were weak, that you were breakable. And the more you performed weakness, the more they stayed close, not out of love, but out of appetite. So here's the correction. Starve them. Stop giving them access to your bleeding. Stop giving them free tickets to your self-destruction. No more late-night rants. No more breakdowns in front of fake friends. No more weakness on display for those who can't handle it with respect. Keep your struggle private. Keep your healing sacred. Because when you starve the audience, the theater closes and the parasites scatter. Weakness is not the enemy. Broadcasting it to the wrong people is. There's a difference. Everyone breaks. Everyone suffers. Everyone has nights where they feel crushed under the weight of being alive, but not everyone deserves to witness yours. Choose wisely. Give your pain only to the rare few who can hold it without using it. Everyone else, they get silence. They get the calm mask. They get nothing. Understand this. People addicted to your weakness will never celebrate your strength. Why would they? Your pain gave them power. Your tears made them feel superior. Your brokenness kept them entertained. When you rise, they lose their drug, and they hate you for it. That's why some people will sabotage your healing. That's why they'll poke at your insecurities. That's why they'll remind you of your failures when you're trying to move forward, because they don't want you strong. They want you starving and bleeding, so they can keep feeding. So you flip it. You starve them instead. You turn cold. You turn silent. You stop being their meal. You stop performing for their entertainment. You build in shadows. You heal where they can't see. You grind in silence. And when you return, you don't return as the same crying, begging version of yourself. You return unrecognizable, strong, untouchable, scarred but armored. By the time they see you again, they'll be too hungry to handle it, and you won't feed them. Starving them isn't just about cutting them off. It's about cutting off the version of yourself that kept bleeding for applause. You can't keep repeating that cycle. You can't keep seeking comfort from people who secretly enjoy your collapse. You kill that version of yourself. You bury it. And from that grave, you build someone who never gives that kind of access again. Weakness is a weapon when it's private. It becomes training. It becomes discipline. It becomes long nights of grinding while they assume you're broken. You starve them while you feed yourself. You starve them while you get stronger. You starve them until they fade into irrelevance, malnourished from the lack of your breakdowns. That's how you win. Don't confuse starvation with revenge. This isn't about showing them you're strong. This is about not needing to show them anything. They don't get update. They don't get proof. They don't get the privilege of seeing the rebuild. They just get absence. They just get silence. And eventually they get erased. They'll test you. They'll push buttons to see if the old version is still alive. They'll try to drag you into the same old conversations, the same old emotional traps. Don't bite. Don't engage. Don't feed them. Every time you refuse to give energy, they get weaker. Every time you walk away, they lose grip. Every time you stay silent, you starve their addiction a little more. Eventually, they break before you do. You want real revenge. Don't give them a single drop of your weakness ever again. Don't give them access to your storms. Don't give them a front row seat to your collapse. Starve them until they choke on their own emptiness. That's the kill shot. That's the execution. Weakness entertained them once. Never again. Now you know the truth. Your silence, your discipline, your private grind. Those are the meals you keep for yourself. They can starve outside the gates. They can rot with their hunger. Because the show is over and you're done bleeding for applause. They feasted on my weakness once, but now the theater is closed, and I'll watch them starve to death outside my silence. You stop performing for approval and start constructing a life that proves itself without announcement. Work in private. Harden your craft. When you reveal yourself, it's not a return, it's an execution. Build in darkness so the light that hits you later burns those who watched you fall. They wanted you loud. They wanted your life to be a soap opera they could pause and rewind. They wanted to know where your pain lived, when it would surface, and how to make it sell. So stop performing, stop narrating, stop tweeting your wounds into an echo chamber of sympathy. Build in shadows, work when they sleep, improve when they mock, train in secret. That silence is your factory, the output is inevitable. Building in the dark is not cowardice, it's strategy. Cowards hide because they're afraid to fail. You hide because you're a craftsman avoiding the cheap opinions of amateurs. You don't unveil prototypes to critics, you make the final product. This is how craftsmen, generals, and killers operate. They refine away from applause. The reveal is surgical. The reveal is the point where everything you were denied becomes undeniable. When you build in shadows, three things happen. First, your energy is preserved. Public grief, public explanations, public politics. All these are drains. They scatter your focus. They give other people leverage over your emotions. Remove the audience and your energy compacts. It becomes fuel for discipline, practice, accumulation. Second, mistakes are inexpensive. Fail privately. Fail hard. Learn faster because there's no audience to make failure permanent. Third, surprise is a weapon. When you finally step into the light, you own the narrative by default. You are not reacting, you are revealing. Make a schedule that doesn't bend for moralists and manipulators. Guard your calendar like it's a vault. If your day can be rearranged at someone else's whim, you have no boundary. If your time is cheap, so are you. Build rituals, cold rituals, that structure your hour's work. Training, learning, sleep, recovery. Repeat until repetition is no longer effort, but instinct. That kind of reliability is terrifying to people who survived on your unpredictability. They loved you when you were soft. They will resent you when you are precise. Develop skills obsessively. Money is useful. Muscle is useful. Knowledge is necessary. But skills are sacred. They are non-negotiable currency. When the world shifts, your skills remain. They convert to options, to safety, to leverage. Learn like you're stealing the future. Practice like you're a saboteur preparing to take out a machine. Don't learn for likes. Learn to be dangerous in a room where they thought you were harmless. Make assets, not stories. A job, a bank account, a body that can endure, a mind that can adapt. These are assets. Followers are not. Likes are not. Bragging rights are not. Assets survive trends. Assets punish the people who laughed. When they mocked you, you were building a ledger. Now the ledger pays. When they need you, the ledger reminds them they no longer own your attention. Work in the dark also means protect against personal leaks. Don't overshare, confess less, announce fewer plans. The fewer people who know the scaffolding, the fewer saboteurs you empower. It's not paranoia, it's hygiene. You wouldn't file your taxes in a public square. Don't file your next move where vultures can pick at it. Sacrecy is simple: do the work, finish the product, then reveal with impact. When you finally emerge, treat the reveal like a strike. Don't celebrate publicly with a begging smile. Don't explain the overnight success that took years. Let results speak. Let the absence explain better than your words ever could. When they search for your apology or your justification, give them silence and a scoreboard. Success is an eraser. It wipes away the gossip and replaces it with numbers. Silence plus proof is humiliation for those who assumed you were nothing. Be ruthless with time thieves. Identify the relationships, habits, and obligations that take and never return value. Kill them. This is maintenance, not cruelty. If someone is not pulling weight in your life, they are a weight on your life. If a routine no longer serves your growth, scrap it. Systems are ruthless because they are honest. They strip drama and keep only function. Turn the darkness into a laboratory for discipline. Schedule cold mornings, silent workouts, disciplined notebooks, repeated practice. Reduce variables until the only differences between yesterday and today are incremental improvements. Discipline compounds like interest. 2% better every day becomes a future that looks like domination. People who mocked your breaks will be forced to ask for loans from the wealth you quietly accrued. Finally, remember, the reveal is not revenge. Revenge is noisy and petty. The reveal is a demonstration of consequence. It's the quiet justice that follows hard work. When they ask where you came from, you don't answer with drama. You answer with results. That's the most dangerous humility. It makes you untouchable without needing to prove you were right. So build. Work where they can't touch you. Train where they can't trash you. Accumulate where they can't steal you. And then emerge precisely like a blade pulled from darkness and pointed at the horizon of their assumptions. I built in the dark until the world couldn't ignore me. And when I stepped into the light, it was not a victory lap. It was the moment my silence split their lies in half. Revenge isn't rage. Revenge isn't screaming in someone's face, throwing punches, or broadcasting your pain to the world. That's noise, and noise fades. Real revenge is colder. Real revenge is quieter. Real revenge is discipline. The kind that doesn't care who's watching. The kind that stacks bricks in silence while everyone else wastes their lives in drama. Discipline is the weapon that never dulls, and it kills louder than any outburst. Think about it, anyone can rage. Anyone can post rants. Anyone can burn bridges with a messy exit. That's easy. Discipline is harder. Waking up at the same time every day, grinding when you don't feel like it, putting in the reps, saving the money, studying when no one notices. That's punishment. Because while they're laughing at you, you're sharpening. While they're drinking, you're stacking. While they're wasting, you're building. Time does the killing for you. Discipline is brutal because it's boring. It doesn't feed your ego in the short term. It doesn't hand you applause. It starves you of comfort and forces you to show up even when it burns. That's why it works. It's the long game. And the long game is where fake friends, ex-lovers, and betrayers can't survive. They want immediate validation. You want permanence. That's the split. That's the revenge. Your discipline is their humiliation. Every time they thought you'd stay broken, you stacked another brick. Every time they expected you to crawl back, you were already 10 steps ahead, adding another rep, another dollar, another line of progress they'll never match. You don't have to tell them. The scoreboard tells them. Their insult fades into dust when compared to the reality of your results. That's how discipline destroys them slowly, consistently, undeniably. Discipline means choosing silence over chaos. It means your evenings aren't wasted explaining yourself to people who don't deserve access. It means your mornings aren't hijacked by their drama. It means your schedule is not open to parasites. Every hour is accounted for. Every day is another step away from weakness. Discipline builds a wall so high they can't even see you anymore. And that invisibility is the ultimate insult. They no longer matter in the universe you've constructed. But discipline also means sacrifice. You don't get to keep your old comforts. You don't get to indulge in laziness, pity, or the constant need for validation. You trade all of that for structure, for self-respect, for sharpness. And when you finally arrive at the place where results scream louder than words, you'll look back at the people who disrespected you and realize they never stood a chance. Discipline is the refusal to collapse when it would be easier to. It's the daily choice to control what's controllable. It's the war against distraction, temptation, and softness. Everyone else folds eventually. Everyone else compromises eventually. You don't. That's why it works. That's why it's revenge. Because nothing infuriates people more than seeing someone they underestimated grow into someone they can't even approach. They'll talk. They'll whisper. They'll invent stories about how you changed. Of course you did. You became disciplined. You stopped wasting time explaining. You stopped giving away access. You stopped feeding weakness. Let them gossip. Let them throw shadows. Shadows don't touch discipline. Discipline outlives every rumor. It turns your life into proof. And proof doesn't argue. Proof just exists. Do not mistake discipline for obsession with them. This isn't about proving them wrong anymore. It starts that way. Sure, you want to shove success down their throat, but discipline matures into something colder. You don't even care if they see it. You've moved so far into your own grind that they are erased. That's the most dangerous stage. When you stop building for revenge and start building because it's who you are now, you've already won. Discipline is self-respect in action. It's the decision to no longer betray yourself the way others betrayed you. It's the refusal to hand your enemies the satisfaction of watching you collapse. It's the quiet statement, I control me, not you, not anyone else. That's why discipline is the ultimate revenge. It's not about them. It's about never giving them the power to break you again. So you get up early. You train hard. You save when it hurts. You work in silence. You master your craft. You lock your schedule. You eat discipline like oxygen. And by the time anyone realizes what you've become, it's too late. They can't stop it. They can't undo it. They can't even stand near it. That's the sting. That's the revenge. They wanted me broken, but I chose discipline. And nothing kills their memory louder than a life they'll never have the discipline to touch. Walking away isn't weakness. It isn't surrender. It isn't you being soft or scared. Walking away is execution. It's the moment you decide someone is no longer worth your energy, and you cut the cord without explanation. Victims beg. Victims cry for closure. Victims hope the people who hurt them come back with an apology. Killers don't. Killers turn their back. Walk away and never give the other side the satisfaction of access again. You've been conditioned to believe that walking away makes you look powerless. That's a lie. Staying in chaos, chasing someone who already disrespected you, explaining yourself to deaf ears. That's powerlessness. Walking away is control. It's silence. It's the blade across the throat of every manipulator who thought they still owned you. Think of how much energy you've already wasted trying to prove your worth to people who didn't deserve a second of your time. The late-night texts, the long speeches, the endless arguments. Did it change anything? No. They fed off it. They thrived knowing they could pull your strings whenever they wanted. Walking away cuts those strings. It leaves them screaming into silence, realizing the puppet doesn't dance anymore. Walking away like a killer means no theatrics, no long speeches, no dramatic exits, just gone. Cold. Clean. You don't storm out, you evaporate. You don't warn them, you starve them. That's what destroys them. Not the noise of your anger, but the void of your absence. People can fight anger. They can debate words. But they can't fight silence. They can't fight being erased. When you walk away like a victim, you drag your chains with you. You rant. You beg for closure. You keep reopening wounds. You stay tied to the same story, replaying it in your head until it consumes you. When you walk away like a killer, you don't replay. You don't rehash, you cut it off in one clean strike, and you don't revisit. They no longer exist in your universe. That's not weakness, that's domination. Understand this. The ultimate disrespect isn't shouting at someone. It isn't telling them off. It isn't revenge posts or half-assed threats. The ultimate disrespect is indifference. It's showing them they no longer have the power to touch your thoughts, your time, or your trajectory. Nothing burns deeper than realizing they became irrelevant while you became untouchable. Walking away doesn't mean you forgive. Forgiveness is irrelevant. It doesn't mean you forget. Forgetting is impossible. Walking away means you simply stop carrying them. You drop the weight. You let them rot in their own decisions while you evolve past them. That's why killers don't beg. That's why killers don't wait for apologies. Because closure isn't given, it's taken. And you take it the second you walk away with your head high and your silence intact. They'll chase, they'll poke, they'll bait you with guilt, pity, or fake kindness. They'll try to drag you back into the circus because your presence fed their ego. Don't bite, don't answer, don't return. Every time you refuse to engage, you bleed their power out of them. Eventually, they collapse under their own emptiness. You owe them nothing, not an explanation, not a last word. Not a maybe someday. When someone disrespects you, they void their contract with your life. No renewal, no negotiation, done. You're not obligated to clean up their mess or teach them what they should have already known. Walking away is justice, and justice doesn't ask permission. The killer mindset is simple. I don't leave crumbs. I don't leave doors half open. I don't leave space for you to crawl back in. Once I walk for good. That's the discipline. That's the cutthroat power they never expected, and it terrifies them, because deep down they believed you'd always return. They relied on your weakness, but weakness is dead now. All that's left is silence, distance, and the sound of your footsteps fading into something greater. I don't walk away to escape you. I walk away to erase you, and nothing is colder than knowing you'll never get another chance. Forgiveness is a word people use when they don't have the strength to move without closure. They preach it like medicine. They tell you forgiveness sets you free. Bullshit. Forgiveness isn't freedom. Detachment is. Distance is. Outliving them is. I don't forgive because there's nothing to forgive. I just don't carry them anymore. I cut them out like a tumor and move so far ahead they can't even trace my shadow. That's not forgiveness. That's erasure. People hurt you and expect two possible endings. Either you break forever, or you forgive and take them back into your circle. They never prepare for the third option. You become so cold, so focused, so untouchable that their existence no longer registers. That's the kill shot. Not forgiving, not reconciling, but living a life where they are irrelevant. Not mentioned, not remembered, not needed. I don't need apologies. I don't need closure. I don't need anyone to come crawling back, begging for another chance. Why would I? Their role in my life is over. Their chapter is closed. Forgiveness would mean I still acknowledge their power. Outliving them means I erased it. Their betrayal became the fertilizer for my discipline, and now the harvest is mine alone. Outliving is colder than revenge. Revenge still revolves around them. Revenge keeps them alive in your head. Outliving them doesn't. Outliving them means I grind when they give up. I succeed when they stall. I keep breathing when they choke on their own choices. I keep moving when they rot in place. Outliving them isn't about proving anything. It's about being untouchable by default. You want to know what hurts them the most. It's not your anger. It's not your rage. It's not the day you scream in their face. It's the day they realize you don't think of them at all, that you built something they'll never touch, that you became someone they'll never access. They thought they left scars that would define you. Instead, you turned those scars into caluses, and those caluses carried you farther than they could ever dream. That's the sting. That's the silence that kills louder than any revenge speech. I don't forgive because I don't replay. Forgiveness is still engagement. It's still acknowledging their role. I don't need to forgive the knife for being sharp. I just stop touching it. I don't need to forgive the storm for raining. I just build a stronger shelter. Outliving means I don't waste a second assigning meaning to people who failed me. I just bury them under the weight of my progress. Outliving means I never chase. I never explain. I never beg. It means I don't collapse into self-pity when the world spits in my face. It means I lock in. I keep stacking bricks. I keep training, saving, building, repeating. Until one day when they glance at me from the sidelines, all they see is distance, miles of distance, and the realization that no bridge exists anymore. That's not forgiveness. That's finality. Outliving is a form of revenge that doesn't even feel like revenge anymore. It's colder than that. It's survival. It's power. It's the quiet domination of someone who no longer has anything to prove. When you outlive, you stop waiting for karma. You become karma. You become the walking evidence that they lost access to the best version of you, forever. Let them rot in gossip. Let them choke on regret. Let them scroll through your absence. You owe them nothing, not even hate, not even forgiveness. They get nothing because they are nothing now. And you keep moving, you keep living, you keep outlasting. I don't forgive because I don't need to. I outlive, and there's nothing colder than being alive in a world where they no longer exist.